Hey guys, I'm Matt Emanuel and welcome to Coastal Fishing Mayhem's first ever on the road episode. This trip, we've travelled to amazing Denmark for a few days and with the help from a local fishing guru, hope to show you some incredible action. Good land-based fish seem to be very few and far between, especially in the metro area. So when your patience is run thin and you're in desperate need of hooking into something decent, get out of town for a few days. Your luck could change in an instant. Just a little over 4 hours south of Perth is one of WA's best kept secrets. Once you've rolled out of the CBD, it's smooth sailing all the way to the destination. Accommodation is always tough when you have the whole tribe. Ocean Beach Holiday Park has to be one of the best located places to stay in the southwest. Surrounded by pristine coastline, lush greenery and friendly wildlife, there's something there for the whole family. The kids will be blown away by the endless activities just a short walk from your chalet or campsite. From $155 per night, you can have yourself a fully contained chalet with everything you need for a comfortable stay. A decent sleep will be the difference between a good fishing trip and one you'll never forget. And how much easier is cooking your catch when you have a fully functioning kitchen on hand? Keen to wet a line, the trip started with an easy afternoon in some amazing waters. The variety of sea life kept us entertained while we tangled with some smaller species. After a long day, everyone needs a frothy, and if it's a good one you're after, hit up the Boston Brewery. Just a stone throw from Denmark, you'll be taken back by the stunning scenery. With entertainment for the kids, you'll have plenty of time to kick back and relax. With a huge food menu and a few drinks to help the fishing stories flow, you can't go past it. After what we thought was going to be a solid night's sleep, the alarm sounded for an early rise. As the old saying goes, the early bird gets the worm.
It's currently 2:45 in the morning. We've got about an hour's drive out of town and then some full driving to do to get to the ledges where we want to fish today. We want to fish the bite period around sunup, so here we are.
We all know that the easy to access fishing locations aren't the most productive. Only a 4x4 is a massive advantage to finding some great fishing grounds. Once we finally hit the off-road tracks, it was the usual grind of dropping tyre pressure and securing all gear to minimise damage. As it was our first trip to this location, we had no idea what to expect, so every precaution was taken. So for this trip, I've brought good mate, keen videographer and very keen angler, Sean Batt with me. Sean, mate, you've come all the way down here to Denmark. Are you enjoying it?
Absolutely, mate. It's fantastic to get out here and hopefully join a couple of my passions together. But of course, all we got to do now is actually hook some fish and get it on camera.
Mate, let's get in on. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
For this trip, we are hosted by Fabio Varrone from Fabs Fishing and Tours. He's been fishing these parts for around 12 years and has a number of cracker spots up his sleeve. It's currently mid-December and we have just one good day of weather, so we have to make the most of fishing in some dangerous waters. We're actually chasing these at the moment for live bait and they provide some great action. They're actually not a bad feed too, but we want these guys out there on the balloon in the hope of attracting a nice big kingy or a sambo. So we'll get him out there and see what happens. It's very important when live baiting you position the hook correctly so that old mate doesn't just die. It's the most humane way of attaching the fish, and if done correctly, it can be released.
If you damage the lateral line, you can expect the fish to die within 10 minutes. But if you go above the lateral line, on both sides, that thing will stay alive quite a while.
Hey. So again, we've got a nice little humble herring here. This guy This guy's absolutely nailed a little one of GM's little shads. That's a glow shad actually. And they've been absolutely terrific today. We've nailed herring after herring. So definitely look at these small shads when you're fishing for herring.
Herring are kind of hard to stay attached to, so it's being a little more difficult than I hoped. Like that.
For the next hour, the fishing was really ordinary. The frustration started to come out, and so did the excuses.
Hey, you bit it. Come on! This isn't fair! You're only herring, how can this be so hard?
Smaller bait, smaller jig.
Oh. Oh! You got a smaller jig head, Sean?
Then finally, Sean gave us a glimmer of hope.
He's off the hook! Woo! He's not getting banned.
You got a fish? Well done, mate.
Shut the go for a while there, fellas.
Although we started pulling him up, he couldn't quite keep a firm grip.
Uh-oh.
How's that for an absolute stonker Denmark herring? That is, I'm not going to say that's pushing a kilo. I don't know if that's going to sound like rubbish, but that's a solid fish. I'm going to get that one out there and put it out for bait. As the tide began to pick up, so did the numbers. Well, if nothing else, you're guaranteed to leave with a feed of herring. That's a given. But look at the size of these herring. That is just out of this world. So here we have a live bank. So here's our natural live bait tank. It's just a pool in the rocks and a shallow pool like this. If it's cool enough, we'll keep that herring alive for hours. Rock fishing has been labelled as one of the world's most dangerous sports. Between 2010 and 2015, 68 Australians tragically lost their lives. A huge reason why we are fishing with an experienced guide is that we don't know these waters or what to expect from the conditions. The location chosen for this day was sheltered from winds and the swell was at a minimum, but this was due to change by early afternoon, so we had to make the most of every second.
Depending on the speed of the swell at the time, you could expect on average maybe every 45 minutes a set that is larger than the rest of them to come through, and in that respect we'll get a lot of tourists sometimes come down. They'll look, they'll see the rock is dry, have a fish, not knowing that half an hour before that there was a set that had come through.
Now obviously we're wearing PFDs today. Tell us a little bit about what it does for us.
Yep, sure. These are called manual automatic PFDs, and if for an emergency you feel the need that you have to inflate, you can just pull the tab and inflate. Yeah. But in case you slip and knock yourself out, as soon as you hit the water, it will self-inflate as well.
People back in Perth, if you want to adopt any form of dangerous rock fishing, we need to be wearing these. Forget the bravado. Your family needs you when you get home.
Not worth it, for sure.
Absolutely. One thing that's absolutely imperative when fishing these rocks is knowing what's slippery and what's not. I was just about to take a cast before and I put my foot into this slippery black stuff, bit of shiny wet rock, and I almost went through with the cast. So make sure every time that you go to cast, your footing is on something nice and firm and you're not going to slip away.
Not a herring, man.
Well done, mate. Is that your PB snook, is it?
It is, mate. It is.
Good work.
Look at that. Getting involved. Do you know what happened? I had a wind knot, so I casted it out.
I saw.
I was like, I've got to leave it on the bottom to deal with this knot.
Good work.
Cool, man. That's a couple of baits.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cheers. weapon of choice as we speak is a medium to heavy surf rod, a Stella 6000 reel, which has got plenty of grunt. It's going to allow me to almost lock completely off on a decent sized fish. Around about 40-pound line, and the leader we're going to use something quite heavy, that is a 60-pound fluorocarbon leader. And when you see those rocks down there, you'll understand why. Every barnacle on there is basically a razor blade ready to ping braid, but the fluorocarbon seems to hold up a little bit better against it. So let's get the lures out there.
For follow-ups on our episodes and handy fishing tips, catch us on Facebook and Instagram at Coastal Fishing Mayhem. When hitting any off-road tracks, it pays to find who the local recovery drivers are. When tragedy struck and I managed to disintegrate a wheel bearing, Michael from Talisman Recovery had me back on the road in no time. The technicians at Talisman Motors have a fully functioning workshop, and for a great price, we'll have the old girl as good as new.
The action is actually turning on right now. We've got a change of tide, we've got fish coming in left, right and centre, we're seeing them chase lures, so it could be about to happen. That ultimate land-based fish could be any moment, you never know. This one's just a herring, broadside again, hooked under the gills. I can't get over the size of these herring, that is insane, but still I reckon it's a matter of time. The fish are firing up. He's not a monster, but he's a better fish. I saw him turn broadside away from those rocks. I'll turn around. I'll actually let him go back out.
From Fab's predictions, we were quietly confident the elusive land-based kingfish would show up, and thankfully, a little fella did.
There we go, that's what we came here for. Obviously, we came here for a bigger one, mate, but that's my first land-based king, so
Yeah, oh, fantastic.
absolutely pumped.
Little one. Ah, it's good, man.
Well, we'll get this. Well, the lure choice was definitely, the lure change was definitely the key there.
You gotta move away from the rock.
Let's get out there. Yep. So there it is, boys. That's what we came here for, but now we need to times that by about 10 in size. So we'll keep spinning on the surface and hope for the best.
We threw lure after lure with the hope of finding a monster. And finally, it happened. The true power of this fish was mind-blowing. In these conditions and terrain, you can't give a big fish an inch. Even in his fighting style, you can see how much Fab lowers his centre of gravity. With very little drag, it becomes clear how much concentration is needed to keep your footing. From these quick glimpses, you get an idea of its true size. And then, the unthinkable. Only metres from the gaff, it takes one last run into the stones.
How's the brick, Jazzy?
Not yet. Oh, I felt that. I don't know.
Fab.
Good work. That's cool. Bit puffed out. This leader's so frayed from Kingy going in and out the rocks. It's easy over a metre. It was a good fight. Going the 30 pound for the challenge. Done the 50.
Oh, Fab! Sensational effort, mate. I mean, look at the terrain. Look where that fish was. You had him in and out of these rocks 3 or 4 times. It came around the rocks. I saw that line rubbing rocks the whole way. So, mate, for you to get that fish up there was incredible.
Thanks, mate.
And, you know,
full on.
What an experience. What an experience, eh?
Yeah. Oh,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, sure.
So, I'm pumped, mate. Well done. Let's actually get one, eh? But I've got to tell you, man, that was as close as we're ever going to get without having to kill that fish. So
yeah, for sure.
Brilliant, man.
Even though it was devastating to lose this fish so close to the gaff, Fab and his clients land solid kings on a regular basis. At least we know this fish is swimming freely, harassing those oversized Denmark herring.
Finally a decent hookup. We've got a school of salmon just coming through the front of the rocks, which is good because the kingies have gone quiet. We saw a few, didn't quite land them, so I'm gonna let this guy get away from these rocks. I've got a feeling this is quite a good salmon too, so this is what it's all about. Doesn't matter what you're hooking into as long as it's got a bit of fight.
It was all over for the kings, but the action didn't stop. A solid school of salmon had moved in, and it was mayhem.
So look at the size of this salmon. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter what you catch, as long as you're getting a good fight. And we're copping waves left, right and centre, so it's all happening. I mean, I'm a happy camper. I've got a kingy for the day, now a big salmon. Fab was saying this is weighing in at about 5 or 6 kilos. So, you know, that was an epic fight. And if you just have a look at that little gilly lure, you don't even need big lures to catch good sized fish, guys. Stoked. Well done, mate. We got one on one treble and one on the other. 2 salmon on one lure. This is insane. Oh, love the jump, you know. You can't get sick of these land-based fish that take a jump, eh, Fab?
Oh, great fun. Love it.
Oh, big jump. Just got to get him out of those sharp rocks. That's the hardest bit about this is we've got rocks that we can keep this fish and know that we're safe around, and at the moment he's around razor blades. So as long as I can get him out of that, get a bit more pressure on his head, get him up. That's one thing about these salmon that you just can't get sick of is they don't stop. They never say die. They just keep running and running and running all the way to the gaff or to the net. Look at that, there we go. Just peel away. It's not super heavy gear, but I mean, it's very good quality gear, so you can see the power of this fish. So we've just got him out of a snag, which is incredible. That is so sharp where he is, and we'll get him around to the landing platform. Good work, brother.
You're welcome.
So there it is, another big salmon, and never disappointing. I mean, you guys saw the fight. They fight all the way to the rocks plus more. If you're not catching your target species in between, catching fish like this just fills the day right out. So we're going to release this guy. Fab's estimated this one about 6 kilo, you reckon, mate?
Yeah.
He's a fat fish, but he's definitely fit enough to fight another day. So we'll pull that lure out, the old Dr. Hook school bully there, and I'll send him on back for another day.
Shawnee B couldn't contain his excitement when he hooked a solid stink of his own. Just listen to the enthusiasm in his voice.
Well, it's not a kingfish, but it's a fish nonetheless, and put a little bit of string, so it's a good start. And yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll find some more kings, but happy with catching some fish nonetheless.
Unfortunately, there was no tomorrow. The weather had set in and the rocks became too dangerous. But all that's done is awaken the fishermen in us. Denmark, we will be back. And we will land that monster fish. For further information or to book a trip with Fab, visit his Facebook page at Fab Fishing and Tours. He caters to all ages and skill levels with spots ranging from local beaches all the way through to rugged cliffs. We can't thank him enough for such an amazing adventure.
So let's call this lure the GoPro Hero 4, and it retails for about $460. So this could be the most expensive cast of my life. It could also pay off. See what happens.
Are you feeling, Matty, nervous?
Yeah, really quite nervous, man. That's a very expensive lure.
What's your wife going to say about this?
She's not gonna know. It's your GoPro, man. Oh my God! It's still on there.